is Jessica Webster.
And this is Sam Pogue of the Fitness Break Room podcast. Sit back, take a well-deserved break, and learn about the journey that helps shape the most successful fitness professionals in the industry today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fitness Break Room podcast. I'm your host, Sam Pogue. I'm sitting here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with a very special guest, and I'm going to hopefully not butcher her name, Jennifer Vogelgazang Blake.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's chalk one up for Sam not being shitty today. It's the first time for everything.
If you had mispronounced it, I would have given you grace. Everybody does. So
were you the kid in school where the teacher goes down to the end? You're like, that's me. They're just like lost at your last name.
That's exactly what I would do. They'd go, because I was Jenny then, so it's like Jenny Vo, and I'd go, yep, present. Yeah. So
well, as long as you're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, hey, it's just gonna be me. You're gonna F it up.
Yeah.
We're here. We're alive. So
I mean, it was a good icebreaker, I think.
Yeah. So we're sitting here in Philly, not in your home or my home, right? Oh. We're in the very special guest home of the Delanave. Sinclair reside and hanging out on their couch when they're doing their own thing.
Right. The Sinclair Nave.
Sinclair Nave.
Casa.
I like that. Yeah. And then it seems to be a trend in your guys' relationship to pull some shortenings because you go by JVB.
I do go by JVB. And David is the one who gave me that nickname because we had... when I first started working at our gym, the Movement Minneapolis, we had at least 4, because there's Jen Sinclair, there was me, and there were a few members whose name was Jennifer. And so, you say Jen or, Jennifer, and we'd all go, and so he's like, screw it. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can cuss.
Okay.
Fuck shit ass.
Okay,
there you go.
There we go.
It's all out of the way.
Cool. Permission granted. Awesome. Yeah, he's the one who started calling me JVB.
Perfect.
So.
Well, let's rewind back before Philly, before Movement Lab, right? Tell us about how you got into the fitness industry and then into maybe powerlifting, what brought you and Jen together, and then we'll go into what you're doing now.
Right.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. So try not to make a long story,
let's make
too
a long story. Yeah. I'm loving
it. But I was, you could say I'm a later bloomer with fitness. I didn't get into it until my late 20s. And it's because I was born with, and I live with really severe asthma, really severe eczema, and seasonal allergies. The 3 just really go so happily hand in hand.
You're just blessed.
I'm extra blessed.
Extra blessed.
Yeah, especially during the spring and the fall. Just really extra blessed. So anyway, and so playing outside was never really, it was really bad when I was younger. And so I wasn't the kid who played sports because if I was outside, I was having hay fever or, sweating, made my skin itch, running, give me an asthma attack. I think about it now, I'm like, I was a mess. I was a big reader. When I was a kid, I read a lot of books.
Sweating made your eczema
Yeah,
react?
heat rashes were really bad.
Oh no! And are you from Minnesota?
I'm from Minnesota, and so we have extreme seasons there. Summer is really hot and humid. Winter is exceptionally dry, and so kind of no matter what season we were in, my what conditions would flare. Anyway, so which is fine. I mean. Beside all that, I had a great childhood.
That's good.
And so, but I never really got into athletics. And, but I always kind of wanted to, as I've gotten older and grown into this body that I have, I kind of am sort of built for strength, but that came later. Anyway. And so I have 2 kids. Their names are Alex and Amelia. They are now 13 and 15. But then they're 19 months apart. And so when they were babies, I stayed home with them. And I needed some time for myself, and I needed to take a shower by myself. And so I joined the YMCA, the neighborhood YMCA.
Nice.
And basically just for that time, to have that time. And I didn't know what I was doing. They had free childcare too. They'd watch the kids for 2 hours. And so,
so you worked out for 2 hours.
I basically did. I did.
Well, we're not missing any of that free
time. But I
time.
didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
And what does everybody do, and I think most people, when they don't know what they do, what to do when they go to the gym, they head towards the cardio machines, and that's what I knew too, a lot of marketing geared towards females is like cardio based, or definitely was when I was younger. And so, it was like a low intimidation factor to like, I didn't really want to get on the treadmill because of my history with running and asthma. So
Mhm.
I hopped on the elliptical and, lasted 10 minutes my first time. But there was something, just that movement really like flipped a switch in me. And it I've described it as like a line of dominoes, basically, like
Mhm.
how one thing sort of leads to the other, especially when you like progressively fall more and more in love with what you're doing. And so, my 10 minutes on the elliptical grew to 30 minutes on the elliptical. And then I got kind of, I really got into the habit of going because I was really falling in love with moving my body and like but then getting kind of bored, and then I saw the weight room, and the YMCA that I used to work at, I'm sorry, I used to work out at, was the oldest YMCA in like the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, and hadn't it was built in like 1940, hadn't been updated since, minor updates, but the basement used to be a bowling alley when it was just for men.
Oh, funny.
It used to be a bowling alley, and they converted it into a weight room. And it was a very old school weight room for YMCA. Like, they had all the barbells, they had all the iron, they had huge dumbbell selection. And I would go down there, like, kind of like, as you like get more comfortable in areas and you get more confident in yourself, you like explore different things. And I was like, I want to try this,
Mhm.
And that was about the time, like, maybe like 2008-ish, when I was like, "What's this Facebook thing?" Like, Facebook was, like, open to everyone besides, like, people who were in college, and
Mhm.
through that, I got connected to other women who were lifting weights. And actually,
Were you
if
just
you
searching around, or did it just start popping up
it
based on your
I
interests?
think it based on my interests, like, I
Gotcha.
found this person who led me to this person, and actually, if we go way back to the
Mhm.
beginning, it was an article written by Nagar Fanouni,
That's
who,
awesome.
like, what she wrote, I was like, sometimes when you get like you read something that strikes you so deeply, like you can feel that like fire sort of bubble up from
Mhm.
like deep in your gut. I was like, this is what I want to do. And what it was, she was talking about, basically like, this is my body is the way it looks is because of what I do in the gym. Like, it wasn't for anybody else. It wasn't because of anybody else. It was for her and what she did in the gym. And that really struck me. And so I, simultaneously started like becoming more connected with, Nagar Fununi, then Girls Gone Strong, and Jen Sinkler, who led me to David Delanave, and at the same time, I'm on YouTube and I'm like learning how to deadlift, learning how to squat, falling in love with it so much, getting my first personal trainer certification. You know, it was just a lot of like things happening all at once. I became a Pilates instructor. And actually, I became a Pilates instructor first. And if I want to back up just a little bit, in my early 20s, Pilates, mat Pilates,
Mm.
was the very first exercise modality that I adopted because it didn't trigger my asthma, didn't
Right.
trigger my eczema, and I could do it inside. And I could do it by myself, so I didn't have to worry about being embarrassed because I like follow DVDs.
So this is before the
This is
elliptical.
yeah, so this is before, and so I had, a feeling of like I had gotten a taste of what it felt like to be strong because Pilates is all body weight
Oh,
exercise,
so hard.
and a lot of core training while your arms and legs are moving. And so I got my personal trainer certification, I became a Pilates instructor at that Y,
Okay.
and then started seeing one-on-one clients. And so it was just like this, like one thing after the others, I fell more deeply in love with moving my body, getting stronger in my body, and, you know, becoming like connected with
Yeah.
other people who also love to do those things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so you were at home with your kids,
Yeah.
right? And then just kind of like searching for your next step, and it just naturally went in with like your lifestyle progression,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And I think a lot of people, a lot of our listeners are young or just starting out fitness professionals, kind of just going in on this journey,
Mm.
unsure whether they're going to take the leap to be just a hobby and doing it on the side, or if they're going to make that real big push to make it a career.
Yeah.
And not everybody comes from the traditional. Got my bachelor's in exercise science, got my CSES, went and interned at X university, then went into whatever college or whatever
Yeah.
pro team. So I think it's really great that you're able to share this amazing journey through your own personal development to be able to find fitness through that.
Yeah.
Just for people who don't understand, and if you haven't taken Pilates, I suggest you try it because it'll kick the shit out of you. One,
In a
two,
great way.
in a great way.
Yeah.
And especially for the guys that value themselves as being strong.
Yeah.
It will humble you really quickly because it is hard. It's hard as shit.
I mean, it's hard. It gets you out of that, that sagittal plane of like squats and deadlifts. It's a lot of rotation and anti-rotation and flexion and extension. And then it's so useful, because it's not, like mind body exercises like yoga focus a lot on mobility, and stretching, and Pilates isn't that. It's like strength. It's that strength training actually, and your arms and your legs are your levers and they're your weights. And it's like controlling your body through all these different ranges of motion. And I think it's such a useful component to like, even for like I still do it as a power lifter. I still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went, Pilates, elliptical, discovered the barbell.
Yeah.
Right. And take us through that journey of what it was like to feel, because it's very empowering to lift and like, ooh, I hit that rep, or I hit that squat, or I hit that bench or deadlift. And it's so uplifting for your confidence.
Yeah.
As a human, not even just in the skill itself. Take us through that journey.
And I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why I was so intrigued, because when I first started, I was the only woman who was working with the barbells in our gym. And I was just like, my curiosity and my interest in it overcame my, nervousness about it, and it helped to, this YMCA, I grew up there, I grew up going there. So it was a very familiar place for me. So that was helpful. But I will tell you that like the first time I was able to deadlift with 135 with 45-pound plates, standing up with that weight, I set it down and I was like, did anybody else see that? And like, I think that it leads to, this is why like we in our company with like our Unapologetically Strong company and the Movement Minneapolis, we want anyone who's interested to like, just like draw them in to just, if you're interested, try it. Because I think like me, a lot of people just don't realize that this feeling of like capability in your own physical strength is there, So yeah, but it was actually, the internet is a really great place. It can be frustrating, and it's a great place because as I was like really falling more and more in love with barbell training, I found David and the Movement Minneapolis via the internet and via Facebook. And I was still working as a full-time trainer at the Y. And I contacted him and I was like, because at the time he was like, you can come in and try a free week at the Movement. And I was like, I'm in, because they were doing everything that I wanted to do in a really, really approachable way. Everything that they were putting out, I was like, I feel like this is a safe place to try. And so I went and signed up for my free week and set up a time to meet with David for a one-on personal training session. And I showed up and I sat in the lobby and he came out of the gym and he walks over and he's like, hey, so what do you want to do today? And I was like, I want to become the strongest lifter you've ever met.
That's awesome.
It was like not what I expected to hear.
Yeah.
But let's go. And then we went into the gym and he taught me, we deadlifted and he taught me the Jefferson deadlift, which, speaking of things that you should try, if you don't know what the Jefferson is, look up David Delanave on YouTube channel, the Jefferson deadlift. It will make you strong as shit. I can say that.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Be candid.
Yeah.
Okay. And at this point, you were so ready for a culture, right?
Yeah.
You'd indoctrinated, okay, this is a value to me as a human.
Right.
But now you need others to support you on this journey.
Yeah.
And found Dave and Jen.
Yeah.
And walked through the doors and just a member at first, right?
I was a member at first, transitioned out of my training business I was a full-time trainer at the Y, seeing, you remember I was doing like between 30 and 40 sessions a week, split shifts, going in the morning.
Yep.
Early in the morning, picking up my kids after school, hang out with them, feeding them, go back for more sessions. It was very, very much a grind, which I loved actually.
Mhm.
I've only ever had jobs of service. Never had a job where I was sat behind a desk. And it is kind of like a core value of mine to like do that. And so I was thriving and exhausted.
Yeah.
So I transitioned out of that position over to my now full time training business at the movement. Yeah,
Who were
started as
you
a member.
training at the Y? Like, so you were
Yeah.
this woman who came from this really unique background of I didn't come from the typical I played sports. I was always an athlete. And then, it naturally progressed. It was like, oh, I had asthma, I didn't play sports.
Mhm.
Somehow worked up the courage to get on the mat
Yeah.
and then into the elliptical and then found the barbell. So who were you training then? Like, because women at this time, what year was this that you're going through
Oh my
this?
gosh, it's like 2010, 2011.
Okay, not to
Yeah.
like age you to anybody or
No, that's
anything
fine.
out
I'm
there.
40.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
2010, it wasn't as mainstream where women were cleaning, back squatting,
Right.
deadlifting, and embracing it.
Right.
Right. And you, like you said, you were the only woman in the basement lifting with a barbell. So, who were you finding as clients? Like to get 30, 40 hours a week of clients is not easy in general. That, for any trainer, let alone a female trying to push the barbell or empowerment of being comfortable in your own skin. What was that like growing that for you?
So my favorite clients and the setup at the Y was really helpful in like members would join and the person, in member services who would handle, those new members you got a free one-on-one training session
Mm-hmm.
with a personal trainer. And the woman who's actually handling that was my friend Kelsey. And so she knew that who I loved to have for that session were brand new, people who were new to fitness, who had no idea what they were doing, who were a little intimidated. And so I wasn't getting like your exerciser who's been like doing this for years and like
Yeah.
really, I was getting like a lot of women who hadn't been exposed to any sort of strength training yet. And a lot of like 50 and older clients who were retired and had like the time to focus on their health, but weren't really sure where to go with that. So yeah, that remains like who I still love to
Mm-hmm.
work with is like, let's bring it in. Let's learn these skills. Let's see how you feel,
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's who kept me busy.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And keep in mind, you guys, that like who you prefer to work with is not just who you're capable of working with,
Right.
right? It's like, it's
Right.
just, and even then, it's like, it's good to challenge yourself with people that you may not necessarily communicate the same with or line up with your mission because it pushes you as a coach
Right.
to have to do that. But it's good to know, like, this is my bread and butter. Like,
Right.
if you're going to market yourself, you're not going to market yourself to dudes trying to get swole if you're not trying to get swole,
Right.
Or that's not the people you enjoy, or that's not the people who resonate with your message.
Right.
So, but
I mean, I always approach it as like, what can I give them so that they have the best experience? And that's really what it comes down to is giving them, the best experience that they leave feeling better than when they came in.
mhm.
And I think that's where like all my like I was a psychology major in college. I had all my jobs in service, like learning how to um adapt to different personalities is exceptionally useful. So I can still deliver to people what they need,
Mhm.
but also giving them what they want.
Mhm.
They just really people want to be listened to. They want to have a good experience and they want to feel great in their bodies. And so that is like no matter who I'm working with, like, and I work with a lot of new lifters, just like I did back in the beginning. Doggies. And I have power lifters who compete at like, USAPL nationals.
Mhm.
No matter who they are, it's like, what can I give you so that you feel great and you continue to get better
Yeah.
and have a good time doing it? Because the fun component is also important.
Right.
So
The three things that you said that you can give people, it was make them more comfortable, right?
Yeah.
It was giving them what they want, giving them what they need,
yeah,
being more comfortable in their skin.
right.
You didn't mention like a smaller waist, a bigger butt, nicer arms. Why was
No,
that?
and
Because that's what people think that you're supposed to do in
that's such a
this.
loaded question.
Yeah.
It. But having physique goals, like I never want to crap on those
Yeah.
because they're valid, absolutely.
Totally.
And I think that for my business and what I do, the things that we do are going to give you shape, but it's more than that,
Mhm.
I it really comes down to how can we get you feeling capable in the body that you have. And then, other things come along with that.
Yeah.
Your waist might shrink. Cool. And granted, too, like different programs will do different things.
Totally.
So there is that.
Yep.
But it doesn't, if you don't want that to be your main focus, then it doesn't have to be.
Right. Well, and I think too, this industry is so much more than like, the aesthetic goals are great, and the lifting and the strength goals are amazing. Like we both chase them, we love them, right? But as a coach, as a mentor, as an educator, it's so much more than I gave you 2 inches on your biceps and 4 pounds on your deadlift. It's I gave you confidence to be able to, handle maybe some obstacles that you've been up against in your own life. And that's what getting you to hit this deadlift was. It wasn't just like, the deadlift is cool itself, but like, oh my gosh, look what you overcame. Look what you worked to get to that.
And it's kind of like, how can I help you sort of fall in love with the process, because outcome goals are useful. Like I want to hit like over 300 pounds in my squat and my powerlifting meet this June. I want that. But if I keep focusing on that and making that my primary, if that's going to sit at the forefront of my mind the whole time, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be pretty crushed, and really like, that's not what's going to get me into the gym every day, and it's so falling in love, and enjoying the process, because it's the consistency that's going to get me that 308-pound squat that I want so bad. I want it so badly.
So bad.
So, it's the, falling in love with what you're doing that's going to get you those outcomes that you want.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now we're in Minneapolis. You sign up for your first week with Dave. You learn the Jefferson deadlift, right? And then you probably bought your membership on the spot.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you weren't like, I need 5 days to consider this.
No.
You were pretty much like...
No. I was like, how often can I be here? Is it weird if I'm here every day? I want to be here every day. Yeah.
And then you were.
Yeah.
And so then obviously learning this aspect of it. And what was what was next? You competed or how did that go?
Oh my goodness. So I joined as a member. And, funny story, I didn't know that Dave and Jen were together at that point. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so, but I was following her online and thought, obviously, Jen Sinkler, if you don't know her, you should know her. Just a fantastic human. And she showed up at the gym when I was there, and I was like, I was deadlifting, and I was like, be cool, be cool, be cool. She's here, just be cool, be cool.
Did you know that she worked out there?
No.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how I...
So you only knew Dave.
I only knew Dave, and I knew Gemma. I knew them separately, and I didn't know that she was... I hadn't put it together yet. And listen, I was new to the internet and Facebook, okay? But...
Instagram wasn't around.
No, it wasn't.
So there's that.
So there's that too. Oh, the good old days,
the
right?
good old days.
Anyway, actually, I love Instagram, but I didn't know. And so I kind of like, I was like, we're going to be friends. She's going to be my friend. And we did become friends, like genuine friends.
Totally.
Because we have a lot of similar core values and like to lift weights and like to have a lot of fun. And we're like, brightly colored leggings. Anyway, so we became friends, and then so I think that was in the fall of 2011, 2012. And then we decided that we were going to, she asked me if I would co-coach a women's only strength training class at the movement.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so at that time, like at the gym, there weren't really any formal classes. It was like come in and lift, And then we were transitioning into a more structured format. And she's like, we're going to start this women's only class to give women a safe place to come and learn all these new skills, because still at that time it wasn't as mainstream as I feel like it is now. And so that January we started a women's only strength training class 3 times a week. And we coached that together for until Jen and Dave moved here to Philly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How was building that up?
It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. We got, the women who hadn't lifted before. We got a wide span of ages, and different backgrounds, and just to be able to like really like dig in and hone our coaching skills and really like teach these new things. And then over the course of a few years, seeing the women like grow and develop and, experience similar things to like how I felt when I was going through it too. It was really, we had a blast.
Yeah.
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 And you briefly went over, you said that you and Jen had a lot of the same core values.
Mhm.
What are those core values?
Oh, I would say the biggest one would be always living within, living within, speaking within, and writing within, whatever you put out there is sitting within your integrity, you know? And so it's a lot of, we kind of go by, okay, so our two sort of like mantras for our business
Yeah.
are surprise and delight. So how can we just surprise and delight the shit out of anyone we encounter?
I like that.
Yeah.
Surprise and delight.
Yeah, surprise and delight. And what do we give them? What do we give? What are we giving them? What are we giving them? And surprise and delight. So all like those two things are sort of our guiding principles for our interactions with, with our clients, with each other, is, living within those two, that framework.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
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 And it's so funny that you willed it. Like, we're going to be friends. And the
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're business partners, right? And now we're sitting here at their house. Like, it's so cool that like
Yeah.
to see how all these things lined up, and obviously for you to be able to change your life.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that moment, obviously walking in there definitely changed
I know.
for you it changed the trajectory of your life.
It really did.
Because let's say you never,
Thanks, Facebook.
yeah, let's say you never even got on the mat for Pilates.
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing?
Oh my goodness. I have no idea because it's such like this is the fabric of my life.
Yeah.
I would be doing something where I could offer service to others. I don't know what that would be. But this is how I can like manifest my love for strength training, and I can merge my love of strength training and acts of service together.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
So you're coaching the class with Jen, and she's still in
Mhm.
Minneapolis,
Mhm.
and then you take over when she leaves, or what happened?
So after she and David moved here to Philly, I kept coaching the class with my co-coach Kate Gallagher, and that was great too. And it was interesting though because over the years our gym really, without overt intention on our part, became like 80% women, 80 to 85% women.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And so the need, and we changed women's only, became WX, so more inclusive towards women who identify as women, femme, and all of you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Um, and that is also our gym, and so it kind of became a point where it that just became the gym culture. Our class became the gym culture. And so that class we don't coach it anymore because
Mhm.
it's not as necessary as it used to be. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
And did it take a long time to get buy-in from like women and the gym itself to like build this class and build a following in this class?
I don't think so. And I think that Jen's social media presence really helped with that. I think that because she is so she has such high integrity and she wants to deliver in such an honest and true way. And so there's a trust there with her that, if she's like, hey, let's try this, people are like, I trust you.
Mhm.
Okay. And they should because she's always looking out. And so her social media presence really helped bring in people initially. And then we were able to like surprise and delight, to
Nice.
have them stay.
Okay.
So, and then people tell their friends, people are bringing their friends to the gym. And so a lot of word of mouth really helped grow the culture outside of women's only into the whole gym.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Now, how did you get into competing, like powerlifting and whatnot? Obviously, you're training with the
Yeah.
barbell, but like
Yeah, yeah.
competing is a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ball game. It was David walked into the gym one day when I was lifting, and he goes, "Who wants to enter a powerlifting meet in a few months?" And I was like, or who wants to compete in a powerlifting meet in a few months? And I was like, I do, without even thinking about it. Like I didn't really even know what powerlifting was.
I'm in.
Yes. And I am kind of that person that's like, I want to do. If I see like fun things happening, especially if it involves strength, I'm like, I want to try that. And so that's exactly how it happened. And it was me and two other members from our gym sign up for a meet. It was the Minnesota State, the USAPL Minnesota State Championships or something like that. That was in 2014. It was in February of 2014. And so it must have been the fall before where he's like, hey, does anybody want to do this? And yep, I'm in. And so we trained for it. And it was the three of us from the gym. And there was maybe about 40 lifters total, if I can remember correctly. But 9 women, I think, like
Okay.
7 or 9 women,
Okay.
which was considered a huge turnout
Yeah.
of women.
Yeah.
And I competed and I had so much fun,
Nice.
so much fun. And I really, though, and this is the thing with powerlifting, like I had no idea what I was really getting into. And I didn't know about I kind of learned on the fly what I was supposed to wear. I showed up to check in and they were talking about getting your rack heights, which is, adjusting the height of the squat rack for squats and rack for bench. And I was like, what are you talking about? But everybody was so nice.
Yeah. Oh,
So have you
so
found
nice.
that too,
Yes.
in the powerlifting community?
Powerlifting, I would say, is one of the most embracing, supportive cultures
Yeah.
in all of the
Yeah.
fitness sports. Like,
Yeah.
it's so welcoming.
What? See, and I'll ask you why you think that is, but I think that because powerlifting is, it's an individual sport, but in a very team-like setting.
Mm-hmm.
And people who have been doing it for years, who are lifting huge numbers, they still remember their first meet.
Yeah.
And so people who, everybody cheers for everybody.
Mhm.
You could bench a bar with just the collars on it and you get as much cheers
Yeah.
as somebody who's benching 500 pounds, And so, because everybody is there to do their best and they also want to see everybody else succeed. Like, why do you think?
I think because it's not objective in terms of
Yeah.
like it's not looking or pinpointing like, oh well, your singlet's a little tight around your waist right there.
Right.
It's like based on like there's set rules, like you have to
Right.
complete like the crease of your hip has to go
Yeah.
below the crest of your knee,
Yep.
and that's a squat, and the bar has to touch your chest, and then you have to wait for the call before you
Yep.
get 3 white lights,
Yeah.
right? And you have to stand up with your deadlift, you can't hitch, and so there's clearly defined rules of what
Yep.
works, what doesn't work,
Yep.
right? But I think it's because everybody, whether you're at the top
Yeah.
or you're brand new, is
You
like
have to follow the same rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's a journey
Same
that
for everybody.
everybody goes through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I had a client, he was, gosh, how old was Bob? Had to be late 80s when he all of a sudden he's like, hey, I signed up for a powerlifting meet. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, you were doing it and we've been doing some like lifts and I just thought it'd be fun. And I was like, okay, that's great, but like I didn't know how much time there was. Like I didn't prep you for a
Yeah.
meet, and like you're doing it on a day I can't be there because I have a baseball game. He's like, it's okay, I'm just gonna go. And then he's like, just goes. And he's like, oh my gosh, everybody was so nice. And he's like, this dude's like 87 years old,
Yeah.
right? And like, he's benching like 135,
That's awesome.
deadlifting,
Yeah.
deadlifted like 155 and squatted like 145.
Mhm.
And he's like, I wasn't expecting everybody just to be like high fives and so nice to me. And I was like, that's just
Yeah.
the community.
It's just, and I love hearing that that's the same,
Yeah.
no matter where in the country, that just seems to be the
Yeah.
case. That's
Yeah.
so awesome. Yeah. So I had a ball and like did well with the help of others, guiding me through like rack heights and weigh-ins and all that. And then after I said to Jen, I was like, why? Because she was watching. She
Mhm.
didn't compete with me, but she was there watching and cheering. And I said, why are you doing this with me? She's like, I don't know. Why are we doing this together? And so our next meet, she and I competed together with a lot, like I think we had a team. Oh, it was probably about like 14 lifters from the gym.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
women?
All women.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We had matching singlets. We still have the singlets. We're known as Team Green because our singlets are like bright Kelly green. They're actually kind of awesome. And
I kind of mean they
yeah,
are.
they're pretty
They
awesome. I just feel like really sporty in them. Like people get nervous about the singlet. I'm like, I love my singlet. You look so goofy, but everybody's looking goofy.
Yes.
So anyway, so we brought a healthy team to that meet. And then ever since then, so my first meet, there were 9 lifters. The year after that, or 9 women. The year after that, there was around 40. The year after that, so in that would have been 2016, they started having to separate that meet into the women in one weekend and the men in the other.
Mhm.
So for the past 2 years, it's been separate, women and men on different weekends, because we'll have like 90 to 100 women competing in that. I mean, it's exploded.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very cool. And it's so, powerlifting is so great because everybody goes through that same journey, and
Mhm.
it's hard. You all share that. Like, not everybody likes being on a stage in front of like however many people just watching you
Yeah.
in a singlet, right?
Yeah.
And like that in itself can be very hard to do in like a pure comedy.
It's
Same thing why a
brave.
lot of people do NPC shows,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, I did this massive transformation, and
Mhm.
now I'm standing on stage, and it's like, hey, if that's your win from it, rock on,
Mhm.
right? But it's just I think it's such a unique experience to express yourself
Yeah.
that is unlike any other sport
Yeah.
I think out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just really comes down to, can you that day? Like, let's check.
Yeah.
Can you? Can't you? So yeah.
And the rules are the equalizer in the playing
Yeah.
field. Like, oh, I squatted 900 pounds. Did you? Okay. Did you hit these rules? Right. And
Yeah.
like that's what I liked about it. It was like, hey, if
Yeah.
you're gonna tell me you did something, at least abide by these rules.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's cool. I mean, there are many, many powerlifting federations in the United
Totally.
States and all over the world, actually. And we exclusively compete in the USAPL
Mhm.
Federation in our team does in Minnesota. And there are others. The USAPL is kind of known for being super strict
Totally.
with their rules. So you have to like really, you got to get that depth on your squat,
Mhm.
pause on the bench press, no hitching, and the deadlift. And, some people don't like it. That's what I like about it.
That's what I liked.
I
about
like
it
the
too.
strictness of
Yeah.
it. Like for me, and all lifts are real. Okay. And I just like to have like, can I do it to these qualifications? So that's a little competitive factor.
Well, and then the pause on the bench is like the big
Yeah.
one. Like that. Oh my god, I paused
Yeah.
forever. Like
Yeah, it feels like it. It really feels like it. And then I'll watch the video and be like, "Oh, that wasn't fast, or
Yeah.
that wasn't slow." Like they were good with the pause, but in my mind, I'm like, "Let's go!"
Yeah. It's like this is like time just stops.
Honestly,
Right.
honestly, which is why then obviously you want to train that
Yeah.
in training, so it's not a surprise.
So you're into the powerlifting, you're getting the culture of
Mhm.
the gym going, and is this where unapologetically strong came into play, or when did this start popping into the scene?
So that's actually where unapologetically powerful came
Okay.
into play. And so at this point, Jen and I are working together in the gym, and we're all also working together online, growing the community, working together as a team, and bringing more teams from our gym to meets and having a lot of success. So when we first started lifting together, I wrote out programming. And we were like, let's give this, let's open it up to everybody because we're
Mhm.
having a lot of fun and a lot of success with it. And so the very first program that we released together is called Unapologetically Powerful, and that was released in December of 2016, and that is a 12-week powerlifting program. There's a beginner track, there's an early intermediate track, and it's a very like no frills, down to business, sort of linear strength progression program, where at the end you're either ready to test your maxes in the gym or compete
Mhm.
on the stage.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where that came from. And then unapologetically strong, and I know that the two get kind of confused.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Is
no idea that
like
powerful came before strong.
yeah. So that was almost like a what is the word I'm thinking of? Well, actually, it started in a blog post that Jen wrote when
Okay.
she and I were working out together. And this blog post, it's a cute story, and it's on jensickler.com. And it's called Unapologetically Strong, I do believe. Anyway, she and we were working out, and we finished our workout. We used to love doing hill sprints on this hill outside the gym on the street. We'd like sprint up the sidewalk. And we would just have so much fun just taking our fitness outside
Yeah.
and, getting really interesting comments from people at the bus stop. But like the first time we went out there, we go and, Jen is like an former pro rugby player,
Right.
and she is fast, And so, and I mean, I'm actually I'm not slow. But we take off, and like I can keep up with her for a little bit, and then she's like, just like puts on the gas and takes off ahead of me, and like I come up and I finish, and I was like, "You beat me," and she's like, "I mean, yeah, I'm really fast." I'm just really fast.
Just really
And
fast.
I started laughing so hard, and I was like, because so often women will be like, "Oh, but you're fast too," or "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I don't mean to feel bad." Like, but she was just like, "Yeah, I'm just really fast," she's really fast. And so it was such a like an interesting moment for me to like hear that, a woman like own her truth,
Yeah.
and not apologize for it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And I kind of like kept repeating it. I'm like, you're just really fast. And we were laughing about it the rest of the workout. And then
pretty
she
funny.
ended up writing a blog post just about that, about like how this is an option. Like we can say, I'm really fast. And like I say all the time, I'm like, I'm just really strong,
Mhm.
And no. And so then that blog post really kind of like, really resonated with a lot of people, and unapologetically strong became, and there's the hashtag, and then we have it on a t-shirt
Mhm.
or a tank top, super cute tank top. And now it is kind of the, you go to jensingler.com, and it's Thrive is the Fittest is the sort of name. But
Mhm.
as we transition into our, as our company grows, and we are relaunching a website soon, it's going to be unapologetically strong. So our company and our way of being is unapologetically strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did you, I mean, at this point, you're now getting into like the content game,
Mhm.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like, once again, it wasn't that you came from like this lineage of trainers in front of you,
Yeah,
like
no.
like in your personal life. I mean,
Mhm.
Jen and Dave, obviously, but like this is all new ground. Like you didn't go
Totally.
to school for like digital media or fitness. Like you're learning this all on the fly.
Yeah.
But yet now you're running a successful company, traveling the world, educating yourself, educating others.
Mhm.
Programming online, like you
Yeah.
got your hands in a lot of different
Yeah.
buckets. What are you juggling right now? What are all the things you're playing with in the space right now?
Well, so right now, I'm still training at the Movement Minneapolis.
Okay.
I see one-on-one clients there. I also coach classes there,
Okay.
and I'm the head coach of our powerlifting team, Team Green. And so that's me at the Movement. And
Okay.
then on the Unapologetically Strong side of our business, I am the head coach of our Unapologetically Strong online coaching group.
Okay.
And so if people want to train with me, they can do so from all over the world, working either with programs that I write from scratch for them, or they work through either Unapologetically Powerful or Bedrock Strength, which we haven't touched on yet. But Bedrock Strength is like my GPP program. It's a great off-season program for powerlifters. And so I am the head coach of that. And also I am writing blog posts, and which I love to do actually. And so that is, and writing for other publications. And so that is what I'm doing right now.
There's only 9 things. You're
It's
fine.
just only 9 things. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But
And being a mom
and being a mom.
and a wife
Oh yeah,
and a
MBD.
friend.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, teenagers.
Yes.
So now, I mean, demands of time. It's not like you can just put the kid in the daycare now because they
No.
have other demands.
No, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. And they teach me a lot every day. And I feel like I'm getting like this deer
Patience.
in the headlights look right now because I'm thinking about it. And like, you're catching me at an interesting time if we're going to talk about my kids.
Yeah.
Like they, when they were little, they were higher maintenance as far as like needing to physically take care of them and
Right.
teaching them things and teaching them boundaries and all these things. And there was more consistency with that. And now my kids are they're very autonomous and independent humans, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And they're challenging teenagers, bless your hearts, Alex and Amelia, if you ever listen to this. Mama loves you so much.
Let's preface that. But
that little caveat, it's almost like they need me more now than they did. They need like the listening more, and they need me to know that I hear them. And so, it's a different sort of attention that I'm giving them now, and it feels more involved than it used to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people come into fitness, and I know especially from our community on it, like there's so many people who join just as pure end users.
Yeah.
Right? 40% of the people that come to our certifications are not fitness professionals.
Sure.
Right? But they would like to be.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's so many people I get on Facebook, and I see people that are like, I'm starting to teach a class here at this gym. And then they're like, what was it like? Or can I make that jump? Right? So it's scary to jump into a new career in general.
Mm.
Whether that's because you were, being a mom
Yeah.
and taking care of the house and your family, or it was because you're in a finance career, whatever it was. But jumping in is like, it can be very scary.
Yeah.
Especially one you're not comfortable with. So I think it's so important like to be able to like express what is it like balancing being a mom, starting your own business, running a services oriented business,
Yeah.
and managing all that, because it's not easy.
It's
and
not easy.
Respect should be paid to it.
Yeah. And I think that's when you really find out like you do it because you love it.
Mhm.
You know, that's the end of it. Like if I didn't love it, I don't think I could keep up, you
Yeah.
know? And there is a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of moving in the background. You know, it's like the duck that's swimming on the lake and looks so smooth and there's little feet, like,
Totally.
you know, and it's just, but I also like that this is I love, that's kind of what I love about it.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who do their more like 9-to-5 job and they're doing great at that, you know, and that could never be for me, you know.
Mhm.
So the hustle, yeah, it can be tiring
Yeah.
sometimes. And sometimes, you know, I think especially every parent, you know, there's nothing that makes you question yourself more than raising children. Like I go to bed every night, I'm like, am I doing this right? Let me just not mess it up too badly, you know? But that I really wouldn't have it any differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it hard to balance? Like, I mean, how do you
Yeah.
manage your time?
It's not easy. I mean, and I'm constantly trying to like find my way with that. Because I like you talked about, you mentioned earlier that you're not really a systems person.
Mhm.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
You know, and I really enjoy being creative and
Mhm.
having so, you know, but you can't like do that on a schedule, you
Right.
know. And then there are things that come up with the kids too, or with my husband or family or friends that doesn't fit into what I thought I had planned for my day. And so I do my best, and I'm learning best how I work. So like you're really actually, this conversation is coming at a time where that is my focus, is like, how do I best how can I best frame my day in a way that works for me so I can be the most productive? That looks different for everybody. And what's the accountability piece for me so that I, you know, get things done. And so I do a lot of I have a planner where I actually write things down, you know, like I can't just put it in my phone, you know, like
Mhm.
here's what's on your list. I can't have a to-do list, like, no.
Yeah, I hate that too.
No. And I can't just put it into my phone. So I have a planner, I write things out. I've got like the monthly calendar so I can look ahead, because if I don't, I'm totally gonna miss things. And so you know, and I block my time. It's helpful that the kids are in school and they're in activities. That frees up time for me.
Totally.
And so the days where I have long stretches to be able to be creative, those are the days that I sit down and, you know, do my programming and do my writing and things like that. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's you know, I look at my life and it's like, oh, it's so easy. Like, yeah, I have a couple different things in the hopper and like
Yeah.
I'm very busy, but like when I go home at night, like I still just have to entertain myself.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to be husband. I don't have to be husband or I mean, I can
You
be a
know?
wife.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a spouse of any sort.
Yeah.
I don't have to be dad. I don't have to be roommate.
Mhm.
Like I literally can go home and sit in silence,
Yeah.
right, and recharge.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it easy for me to bounce all over the world and
Right.
do stuff, because I don't have to do those things.
Right.
But and then I see people like you that do them, and you have to still be mom. You still have to
Yeah.
be, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, how do you balance all that?
And, you know, I think, you know, as we're talking it through, I think it's important to remember that, like, I can do it because I value my business and I value my work. You know, I am a mom and I am a trainer and I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm all these things. But I'm not like just, you know, and I have things that I love to do. I love my work. So therefore, I'm going to dedicate time to it. Whereas, you know, I could be doing, you know, I could be doing more laundry or like planning more meal, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and those tasks are all, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're all valid and whatever. But you know, I value my work and like how I feel when I'm working enough where I'm going to take that time and do it. You
Gotcha.
know, and so you know, yeah.
So you've got these 9 things that you're working on,
Yeah.
plus mom and wife and everything else.
Yeah.
But what's kind of really pressing right now? Like, what are some of the cool things you guys have going on right now at the gym and your own? I mean,
Yeah.
getting ready to launch some things, or what's
Yeah.
going on there?
Well, let me see. At the gym, we've got some lifters prepping for a meet.
Okay.
I've got a couple lifters who are going to be heading to USAPL Nationals this year in the fall, so we're working them up towards that. I on the unapologetically strong side of the business, we're gonna have Unapologetically Powerful 2
Cool.
coming soon. FY maybe by the time that this is out, like, it'll already be released, but maybe it's
Yeah.
a teaser. I don't
Maybe
know.
it's a teaser.
So we're leading up to that, and then the launch of our newly rebranded website, Unapologetically Strong.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
And then you guys do something really unique at the gym with the body and
Yeah.
biofeedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that because we've talked about it last night, and I'm really intrigued to hear more about it. And
Yeah.
hopefully other people can learn more about it as well.
Yeah. I'm glad we have some, like, dedicated time for this because this when I said that, like, the movement way back in the beginning seemed so approachable to me, the
Mm-hmm.
biofeedback piece is actually really why. Because what it does is it's a tool that once you learn it, you can meet your body where it's at on any given day, and it allows you to make the best decision for your body that day on what movements you do, what tools you use, how hard how heavy you lift, and for how long, and all of that. So no matter where your starting point,
Mm-hmm.
you can use it, you know? And so biofeedback testing, what we use, it's a range of motion test. So say, let me put it this way. So say you go into like a kettlebell gym or a CrossFit, and this is just for comparison's sake, not for like one is better than the other. You go into like a private gym that is run on classes,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got their whiteboard, and they've got their class plan written on the whiteboard, and everybody does what's on the whiteboard. Everybody does basically the same movements. They'll scale the weight to their own abilities, hopefully. And hopefully there will be, a coach that can tailor things on the fly for them, but they basically all do the same thing.
Yep.
So you come into the movement and we've got our whiteboard and we have our class plan on it. But instead of having, like, say it's a squat focus day, instead of having just one squat that everybody does, there will be like 3 squat variations. And our members and us, like, we do the same thing. The coaches do the same thing, use a range of motion test to determine which squat you're going to do that day. And so, it's a reach, a toe touch, a reach, and it's hard to just explain maybe without showing you.
Yeah.
But say there's like goblet squats, back squats, and maybe like a Bulgarian split squat.
Okay.
So I'll take my initial like baseline range of motion. I'll see like how far I can bend over touching my legs, and I'll see how far I can get without any tension anywhere in my body. As soon as I feel tension, no matter where, backs of my legs, low back, my neck, or whatever, I'm going to stop my reach. I'm like noted. Okay. And then I'll do like 3 reps of a goblet squat. And often, to make it breezy, we'll like mind the movement so that I don't have to grab a kettlebell, pretend I have it. I'll take the movement just as seriously as if I did,
Mm-hmm.
do it exactly the same way as if I did have that tool, do 3 reps and repeat my range of motion test. And what we're looking for is an increase in that range of motion. So, and if you get like a measurable increase, that your body is giving that movement a green light for the day. If it's the same or worse, your body is like, not today. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why we give options, because somewhere in there, hopefully you'll find something that will increase it.
Yeah.
So you'll have people in our classes who are squatting, but not everybody is doing the same movement, therefore not always using the same tool and not working up to the same weights.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So like instead, like we might do the same workout today, and I might be doing the goblet squat, and then you're doing a high bar back squat, and
Yep.
Dave's doing rear for elevateds or Bulgarians,
Sure.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like it still follows in the
Yeah.
same template.
Yeah.
And so, is this something that you created? Is this something that you're using a different tool? Like, where did this come from?
So I learned from David. David learned from a gentleman named Frankie Ferris, who built, it's called Gym Movement. If you were to do a Google search on it, Gym Movement. And he built this system based on, from what I read, he was pretty broken, and was really struggling. He went to a lot of physical therapists and, all of this, and he was really struggling to get healthy again. And he kind of took everything he learned about from, professionals that he'd seen and the information that his body was giving him, and he developed this system, the biofeedback testing system, of the range of motion testing. And so David learned from him, and that is actually why when I first joined the gym, there were no classes. It was come in, test, test. And if it's a go, then yeah, then
Mm.
you do it. And so it was very free form, you know. But eventually we grew to have more structure within the framework of the biofeedback.
Okay.
So yeah.
So now you guys can deliver obviously with a one-on-one setting very easily.
Yeah.
But you can also create like a semi-private option where it's like, okay, well, you come in, Sam, you're going to come in for your program
Mhm.
and you're doing a general strength program. And today is bilateral strength day. But because you're, maybe your back's a little tight from gardening
Yep.
all weekend, instead of doing high bar back squats, you're going to safety squat or
Yeah.
goblet squat or body weight,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
And it's also known as auto-regulated training, and
Yep.
a lot of elite athletes do that, and a lot of experienced coaches do it with their clients. And and elite athletes and experienced coaches, they have that time spent where they've experienced it and they've seen it, and they can make those decisions on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Newer lifters or like early intermediate lifters, they don't have that experience. They might not have the confidence to be like, oh, maybe I should switch. And so this gives them a tool to use to confirm that that they either should keep going with what they're doing or now it's time to pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say I was doing a like Wendler 5-3-1
Mhm.
program, right? Squat, bench, dead, press.
Yeah.
Right. And could you install this with like doing that kind of program? Like,
Yeah, you
and
could
you're
do
not
it with
going to lose your
anything.
gains?
Once you learn it, you can't unlearn it.
Okay.
You just have to be open to trying something different.
Mm.
And so that's the thing, like, and I see it often. I'll stick my conversation with powerlifting because this is what I know. We have a lot of lifters at our meets, not from our gym, who are doing Wendler 5-3-1, or they're doing, a different sort of more rigid,
Yeah. Like
rigid
West
programming.
Side.
Right, exactly. And so this, once you learn biofeedback, it allows for more flexibility.
Mm.
And so when you have more flexibility in your program, you're less likely to get broken, So maybe bench pressing doesn't test well for me on a certain day, but other pressing does. And it's the difference between me either not pressing or going ahead anyway and getting hurt, versus changing the tool, changing the movement a little bit, still doing my workout, still getting stronger, being happy
Mhm.
because I didn't quit, didn't get hurt, and it's like keeps me consistent and
Yeah.
it improves, my belief in myself that I can do what I want to do. So, yeah.
Because the best ability is availability, right? It's really
Yeah.
hard to get stronger if you're hurt.
Right.
It's really hard to get paid millions of dollars
Yeah.
if you're hurt. And switching up, like if bench pressing was not a good option for me today, maybe my neck's a little effed up or my
Mhm.
shoulders get a little bit of an impingement, like maybe a half kneeling landmine press, like
Yeah.
at 45 degrees instead of full overhead it's not going to jeopardize my gains or anything.
Right.
In fact, it's probably going to make you better.
Yeah.
Just because new stimulus, new stress, right? A
Exactly.
different motor, different
Yeah.
plane of motion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and we do have biofeedback is written into the unapologetically powerful programs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be in Minnesota
Mm-mm.
to get this done.
No.
Wow.
JenSinkler.com.
JenSinkler.com. That's awesome. So, kind of going forward for you, like, obviously you paired up with Jen and you do a lot of stuff, and I don't want to make this about the Jen show, but
Oh, we can make the Jen show.
we
I
can
love her.
we'll get the Jen
Yeah.
show coming up.
Yeah,
But
she's on a different episode.
what's next for you? What are some new goals that you have for yourself?
Well, so just any goals?
Any goals?
Okay.
Fitness, business, mom,
Okay.
wife, whatever.
Well, fitness, I've got my next meet coming up in June. And
Yep.
so I do have some numbers that I would love to hit at that meet. My overarching goal is always just to get stronger and not get hurt. So that
It's a
like,
great goal.
because I really want to be like when I was at USAPL Nationals last year in Orlando, there was a woman, her name was Shirley. I can't remember her last name, but her first name was Shirley. She's in her 80s and Shirley Webb. Yes, Shirley Webb.
Get it, Shirley.
And she, she's in her 80s and she's lifting, not insignificant numbers, and I think she's about to I think she might have hit a 300-pound deadlift. I can't quite remember. She hasn't. She didn't then. She probably has now. But I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to, because I love it. I really do love powerlifting and strength training. So I want to be that woman who's doing this when she's 80, you know?
Mhm.
So for me, it's the longevity piece is important and how I can continue to grow in my strength without significant setbacks. And so, but that being said, that 308 squat is mine. I'll report back to you
I like it.
after
I like
the
it.
June meet. So I have that. I'm super, super excited about the launch of Unapologetically Powerful 2. And so I'm really like excited for that to like hit the world. And I'm really looking to grow my Unapologetically Strong online coaching group.
Okay.
You know, that is really like, I call it the happiest and strongest corner of the internet, you
I
know?
like that.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
happiest and strongest corner
yeah.
of the internet.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's just like a group of people who are interested in getting stronger in new ways and learning new skills, and everybody supports each other. And it's really, you know, from a practical side, it really helps me become a better coach. It's not an easy thing to coach people online.
No.
Yeah.
To be good with your words
Yeah.
is hard.
It's tricky. And my lifters, they'll go to the gym and they'll record their lifts, and I'll have, you know, can you get me a direct side on video? Can you get me from directly behind and in front? And so I can see how their bodies are moving.
Mhm.
And then I'll give them like actionable feedback for them for their next session. And then they report back. And it's just to see the growth that happens in that,
Mhm.
you know, is super fun. So that is really something that I'll be directing more attention to, just to because, you know, when you've got this great thing,
Yeah.
you're like, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's go do this great thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of as we start to tail down, I'd like to ask, what is a piece of advice that you'd like to give newer coaches that they can take with you today and to be more successful?
Newer coaches.
Like a brand new coach.
Yeah, I think, and I'm definitely not, I say this with the caveat, like I have been doing this for a long time. And also you do you. Like, I'm not positioning myself as like the be all end all expert. And I would say that I think, from what I've observed, a lot of new coaches can get caught up in the, you know, let's try this for you today.
Mhm.
Or, you know, let's do, you know, I want you to do this cool thing. And, you know, I want you to do this and do this. And I get it. Like, it's really exciting to do what you love and work with people and have them try new things. But I think if you always position your mindset as, what can I do for them so that they have a great experience? Like, if you take yourself out of that equation
Mhm.
and always direct it towards them, then you will always deliver,
Mm.
you know? And so you don't make it about you, you make it about them. And really amazing things happen in the growth of your business when you're always in that mindset.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
people feel, they crave authenticity, and they can feel when you're being genuine. And when they can feel that you're being authentic with them and that you care about them, they're going to tell their friends, you know, and they're going to tell, and then their friends are going to tell their friends. And, you know, I did not, when I first started my training business at the Y, I was not on the internet. I mean, I had a Facebook page, but I was posting pictures of my kids, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
I mean, and I didn't grow my business on the internet. I grew my business via word of mouth, you
Yeah.
know? And so, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my best piece of advice. Like, be the best you can be for your people and deliver your best for your people.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
So where can people find you?
So they can find me my Facebook. You can friend me on Facebook, Jennifer Volgazang Blake. There's only one of those, so it's me.
We'll spell that out for you guys too. Don't try to do it phonetically. You'll fail.
And then my sort of like my business page is Strong is Fun on Facebook.
Like that.
And then I'm super into Instagram right now, so you can find me JVB Fit on Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was such a pleasure to tell your story and learn about
Yeah.
how you got in here and embracing strength and trying to make others better for it.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks again for listening to the Fitness Break Room podcast, everybody. You can follow us on Instagram at Fitness Break Room. And if you're looking to enter our monthly fitness swag giveaway, you can visit our website, fitnessbreakroom.com, and all that info's on the homepage. Hundreds of dollars worth of awesome stuff, so I wouldn't miss that. And then you can even subscribe to this podcast on iTunes and leave us a review if you're digging what we're bringing you. That would be awesome and very helpful. Okay, guys, have a beautiful week. Stay strong and always look out for the little guy.
Eyes in the skies.